Greetings and welcome to the first reading I will be doing for 2026. Hard to believe we're to a new year, and that there's a lot of things that are shifting, a lot of things that are changing. I wanted to be able to come on and do some moon readings this year, so we're going to kick it off with the full wolf moon, which there's a few things about this moon that are pretty important, I think. One is that this is the last of the supermoons. We've had a few supermoons back to back, and this is the last one, meaning the moon is closer to us in the northern hemisphere. So the influences and the power of the new moon, or sorry, the full moon, is going to be amplified. And some of the things that supermoons bring with them is a lot of cosmic amplification. So this is a good time to be working on releasing self-doubt, to look at personal growth and anything that's blocking or inhibiting us, because there's a lot of emotional connections to it, because the moon's poles are a lot stronger with being so much closer to the earth. It's time to really kind of tune into the intuition and listen to what feelings and different things are coming up, because that's really going to speak loudly to us right now. The January full moon is also known as the full wolf moon, also the full, I believe, cold moon I've used before. It is a time of cold, obviously, but it was called the full wolf moon because this was the time of the year when you could hear the wolves a lot more, because with the snow and the cold, food was harder to find. Where I am right now, we do have a lot of snow that's come down, and there's a big layer of ice between the snow and the ground, so it is definitely a lot more difficult for some of the animals to get to the food that's under the snow. The full wolf moon brings with it the themes of endurance, community, and survival. And it's interesting because it overlaps a little bit with the fact that it is a Cancer moon, and so Cancer also has the themes of family, protection, and home. This is going to be a 3-card reading that we're going to be doing for the moon series, and they're going to basically, each one is going to kind of pull from an element of this full super wolf moon in Cancer. So let's get going and see what the wolf moon is bringing to us in allowing us to release. So as I'm shuffling, keep in mind that the full moons are a time of illuminating the areas of our lives that are ready for healing, that are ready for release, places where we can get clarity on next steps, and all of those different things that we might be struggling with, right? Like the full moon, especially, I love the full moons in the wintertime, because with all the snow on, there is so much clarity, and you get to see things in a different perspective at a time when you normally wouldn't see them, right? If you think about a full moon in the middle of the summer, it's dark, even with the full moon, but here the snow just reflects a reflection of a reflection. So it's really, really interesting, and can kind of really mess with the mind when you're looking at some of these different elements. All right, so there we've shuffled our cards. Now we're going to pick them. So as I said, there's 3 cards, one for each aspect of the moon. So the first card that we're going to be looking at is what blocks to your confidence and growth are ready to be released. And so this is tapping into the super moon aspect of cosmic amplification to help us release things. And especially right now when we're looking at things that are blocking our confidence and our growth, right, using the power of this super moon is really going to give us a big push forward. And we have the Page of Swords, and so the Page of Swords is basically an invitation for us to start a new communication, to start some kind of new understanding with the world, with ourselves. The pages are beautiful in the sense that they are they're an invitation, but they're also a level of newness, right? Like, being that they're the youngest of the cards, they are the ones that will come with these shiny eyes, and they're all excited. There's the naivete, there's an innocence there to the pages. And the Page of Swords is dealing with the air element, which is all about communication. It's all about clarity of thought. And so there's a lot of inspiration and some insights that's going to come with this moon. And what it's saying is, when we're looking at releasing, like what blocks are we ready to release? We're ready to release the blocks on what we have to say and how we want to say and how we want to present ourselves. This is an invitation to really begin to get your message out there. And it's not even about like a lot of times when you hear that about getting your message out there, it's a business kind of talk, or it's marketing kind of talk. But this is just getting what is in your heart out into the world. This could be telling a friend something you've been meaning to tell them for a really long time. It could be starting a new conversation with family. It could be looking at ways that you are expressing yourselves, even say with your doctor or with your any other kind of medical practitioner that you have, right? Like the invitation right now is for us to grow, for us to be confident. We have to start having different conversations. And the invitation is there during this moon to really look at, how are you communicating? And are you communicating from a biased perspective? Are you communicating from a jaded perspective? And it's time to let all of that go, right? Like if you're healing and you're opening and you're changing and you're evolving, you need to also change the language that you're using. You need to change the expressions that you're using. So if you're saying to somebody, I'm having a great day, and your body is really showing something different, that's also part of what the page is coming to bring attention to. It's all levels of communication that you're having and all of the ways that you're connected to other people. The Swords is also about our contracts, right? Whether they be firm legal contracts with lawyers or doctors, or whether they be spiritual and soul contracts with like there's the unwritten curriculum and how we communicate with other people and the subtext and everything. And all of this needs to be brought into alignment. All of this needs to be looked at and brought forward right now during this super moon. So the next one is going to be pulling on the elements of the wolf moon itself. And so the question that we have is, where are you still living in survival mode, right? Because a lot of times we get stuck, especially depending on the stories that we're telling ourselves, right? If we're still stuck in crisis, if we're still stuck in fear and doubt and all of those kinds of things, then it's really clear why we live in survival mode. And when we're living in survival mode, we're not caring about growing, we're not caring about thriving, we're just stuck. And so what we need to see is what element of our life has maybe gotten really stuck and rooted in this survival mode. And interesting, here we have another page. Here's the Page of Wands. And this is really interesting because what it's saying is that our desires and our passions, that's like, we're afraid to actually follow our passions. We're afraid to follow our desires. And when those invitations come forward, we just close everything down. We smother that fire. We hide it. Maybe there's stories around shame. Maybe there's things that we've been told that the things that we desire are wrong or different, or, they're not going to do any good for us. And so because of that, we don't trust when these invitations come forward. And so one of the best ways for us to get out of survival mode is to really tap into what makes you feel alive. What is it that you can do? What is it that you want? What is it that's available for you that is really going to get those fires burning? Because one of the things that the Page of Wands brings with it is an invitation to purification, right? So if we're being invited by the Page of Swords to really start to have a different conversation with the world, with ourselves, with all the people around us, then the Page of Wands is bringing that same invitation to have a different relationship, a different conversation with our passion, with our desires, and to know that when we have a desire, when there's something that we're passionate about, it's because we're here to manifest that in the world. We're here to share it. And so we're being invited right now during this super moon to really be ready to have a purification, to really let this whole fire just engulf all the old stories, to burn up the fear and to burn up everything that is keeping us from moving forward into a new place, into a new energy, into a new path that is really, really going to help us live and thrive and be who we're meant to be. And so right now, it's very interesting that we're having invitations. There's two invitations that are coming forward to us that are saying, hey, it's really, really time for you to speak clearly and to follow your passions and your desires. The next one we have is pulling on the Cancer element of our full moon, and we're asking, what is preventing you from going home? And a lot of times I think of home as in the heart. We live outside of our heart. We live to follow through with society. We live to follow through with family, relationships. A lot of times we turn our back on our hearts, and that's where home is. If we can sit and be home and be present in ourselves, then it doesn't matter where we are. It doesn't matter what we do. We will feel safe. We will feel connected. And so we're really given the opportunity now to look and see, like, what's preventing us from going home? What is preventing us from feeling at home where we are and how we are? And here we have the Five of Swords. So we have this fire card here now is bookended by two swords. And so this is the opportunity to kind of feed the flames of our passion in a safe and protective way, right? Because this is kind of new things to feed that fire. And the Five of Swords is also, it's a break point in the sense that it's midway between the ace and the 10 of swords, and it's a time of reflection. It's a time to step back and to look at things and go, hey, where am I being a real shit, right? Like, where have I started a lot of problems? Where am I doing a lot of things that are causing complications, that are causing communication problems, that are causing arguments and fights and all of that kind of stuff? And how am I contributing to this? And is it really worth it? The other side, the Five of Swords, is also a time to kind of take stock of where you are in your life and what you've been doing and how far you've come, and to be able to say, what am I fighting for, really, is what it kind of comes down to, is looking at, like, what am I fighting? Do I still know what I'm fighting for in my life? And am I still really using my resources, my tools, to the best of my ability? So if you look in here, he's got one. There's two on the ground, and there's two over here, and then there's some people walking away. And so the resources are scattered all over. There's all kinds of fractures. There's all kinds of things that are breaking apart. And like, he still looks like he's ready to fight, but the thing is if he fights holding the sword the way he is, it's only going to hurt himself more. And so we really have to understand, like, it's time to stop being fractured. It's time to start calling all of our fractured pieces home, right? And when we're looking at what's preventing us from coming home, this is the biggest thing that's preventing us from being home, is we're fractured. We're fractured in our communities. We're fractured in our relationships. We're fractured in ourselves. There's so many parts of us that are going off and chasing all kinds of different things because we're not following the invitations to follow the passions that are ours, right? We're not being clear and communicating exactly what it is that we want, it's important to us. And so because of it, we end up getting all caught up in all of these different kinds of scenarios where we end up walking away from them feeling like we've done something wrong, like we're part of the problem, we're not part of the solution. And this is a really good time during the energy of this moon to really sit and say, what is it that's going on? How do I bring myself back? How do I pull all these pieces back so that I can come back home as a whole person? And this is something I think that's going to be a big healing process that we're going to be going through during 2026. Is we've been so fractured in everything that's been going on. We've been stuck in crisis. We've been stuck in fear. There's so many different places where the world seems to be falling apart. And now it's time to really kind of take this Five of Swords to heart and say, okay, if I go forward, how can I rebuild? And if I go forward, how do I follow through with the invitations that are coming from my message to get out there, and for me to follow my passions and to be true to my heart? And so that's some really interesting things to sit with over the next couple of days, as we are still enjoying and exploring and playing with the energy of this full moon. And so I hope that this reading brings something to you to reflect on. I will be posting a couple of comments later on, but I hope you come back again when we do the full moon. In the meantime, take care, and I will see you again.